Question 1. According to the basic rules of firearms safety, you should treat every firearm as if A. It is unloaded until you have personally checked it. B. It is loaded, even if you believe it is unloaded. C. It is only dangerous when ammunition is present nearby. D. It is safe to handle if the action is open. Answer: B. It is loaded, even if you believe it is unloaded. Explanation: one of the fundamental rules of firearms safety is to always treat every firearm as if it is loaded, even if you are certain it is not. This crucial principle prevents complacency and reinforces safe handling practices, ensuring you maintain the highest level of caution at all times. By assuming a firearm is loaded, you will naturally apply the other safety rules, like keeping the muzzle pointed in a safe direction and your finger off the trigger, every single time you handle it. Always handle a firearm with the seriousness it deserves, regardless of its apparent condition. Question 2. When storing a firearm in your home in California, which of the following methods is generally considered a safe and legal option for preventing unauthorized access? A. Hiding the firearm in a closet or under a bed. B. Storing the firearm unloaded with a DOJ-approved locking device attached. C. Keeping the firearm loaded but hidden from view. D. Storing the firearm unloaded and separate from ammunition in an unlocked drawer. Answer: B. Storing the firearm unloaded with a DOJ-approved locking device attached. Explanation: California law requires that firearms be stored in a manner that prevents unauthorized access, especially by children or prohibited persons. Storing the firearm unloaded and secured with a California Department of Justice, DOJ, approved locking device is a common and legally accepted method to meet this requirement. Simply hiding a firearm or storing it unlocked, even if unloaded, does not provide the necessary security barrier to prevent accidental or unauthorized handling. Secure storage is a non-negotiable part of responsible firearm ownership to keep everyone safe. Question 3. The second basic rule of firearms safety states you should never point the muzzle of a firearm at anything you are not willing to. A. Practice aiming at. B. Dry fire at. C. Destroy. D. Store safely. Answer: C. Destroy. Explanation: the rule, never point the muzzle at anything you are not willing to destroy, is a core principle of firearms safety because it emphasizes the potential destructive power of a firearm. This means that the muzzle should only ever be directed towards a safe target or a safe direction where an accidental discharge would cause no injury or unwarranted damage. By following this rule diligently, you eliminate the possibility of harming yourself or others if the firearm were to unexpectedly fire. Always be consciously aware of where your muzzle is pointed. Question 4. If you are unsure whether a firearm is loaded or unloaded, what is the safest first step you should take? A. Immediately point it in a safe direction. B. Ask someone else to check it for you. C. Assume it is unloaded and proceed with handling. D. Pull the trigger to see if it fires. Answer: A. Immediately point it in a safe direction. Explanation: when handling any firearm, especially if its condition is uncertain, the very first action is to control the muzzle and point it in a safe direction. A safe direction is one where an accidental discharge would not cause injury to people or significant property damage. This step is paramount because even if the firearm is loaded and discharges, directing the muzzle safely ensures the bullet travels into a harmless area. Prioritizing muzzle control is the cornerstone of safe handling. Question 5. Before handling any firearm, regardless of who owns it, what should you do first? A. Check if it has a California DOJ approval stamp. B. Ensure the trigger is locked. C. Confirm the owner's permit is valid. D. Learn how to safely operate and clear that specific type of firearm. Answer: D. Learn how to safely operate and clear that specific type of firearm. Explanation: safely handling any firearm requires understanding its specific mechanics, including how to check its condition, load it, and most importantly, unload and clear it. Different firearms have different operating procedures, and attempting to handle one without knowing how it works can lead to dangerous mistakes. Always take the time to educate yourself on the specific firearm you are about to handle before doing anything else. Knowledge of your equipment is critical for safe operation. Question 6. Which statement correctly describes a safe direction for pointing a firearm's muzzle? A. Pointing it directly at the ground in front of you. B. Pointing it at a sturdy backstop designed to stop bullets. C. Pointing it upwards towards the sky or ceiling. D. Pointing it away from yourself, even if others are nearby. Answer: B. Pointing it at a sturdy backstop designed to stop bullets. Explanation: a safe direction is defined as a direction in which an accidental discharge would not cause injury to people and would minimize property damage. Pointing a firearm at a sturdy backstop specifically designed to safely contain bullets is an example of pointing it in a safe direction. Simply pointing at the ground or sky might not be safe depending on the location and what is beyond, and pointing away from yourself is insufficient if others are in that direction. Always ensure your muzzle is directed where a potential bullet would be safely contained. Question 7. According to the third basic rule of firearm safety, you should keep your finger off the trigger until when? A. Until you are ready to hand the firearm to someone else. B. Until you have confirmed the firearm is unloaded. C. Until your sights are on the target and you are ready to shoot. D. Until the firearm is placed back in safe storage. Answer: C. Until your sights are on the target and you are ready to shoot. Explanation: the third rule, often called the finger discipline rule, is vital for preventing unintentional discharges. It mandates that your finger should remain outside the trigger guard, resting along the frame of the firearm, until you have aligned your sights with your intended target and made the decision to fire. This simple practice significantly reduces the risk of an accidental shot while handling the firearm. Keep your finger straight and off the trigger until you are precisely ready to engage your target. Question 8. When handling a firearm, why is it important to keep your finger off the trigger until you are ready to shoot? A. It makes the firearm lighter to hold. B. It helps confirm the firearm is unloaded. C. It prevents accidental discharge due to startling or sudden movement. D. It is only necessary when using live ammunition. Answer: C. It prevents accidental discharge due to startling or sudden movement. Explanation: keeping your finger off the trigger until you are ready to shoot is a critical safety measure because it acts as a physical barrier against accidental discharge. If you are startled, lose your balance, or your grip shifts unexpectedly, your finger might inadvertently press the trigger if it's already inside the guard. By keeping your finger straight along the frame, you ensure that the trigger is only depressed intentionally when you have a clear target and are prepared to fire. Proper finger placement is a key habit for safe handling. Question 9. The fourth basic rule of firearm safety emphasizes the importance of being sure of your target and what is beyond it. Why is this rule so critical? A. To ensure you hit exactly what you are aiming at. B. To prevent property damage to unintended objects. C. To avoid accidentally shooting unintended targets or causing harm beyond your target. D. To confirm the firearm is zeroed correctly. Answer: C. To avoid accidentally shooting unintended targets or causing harm beyond your target. Explanation: being sure of your target and what is beyond it is crucial because bullets can travel significant distances and penetrate various materials, posing a risk to anything or anyone in their path. This rule requires you to identify your intended target positively and assess the area behind it and around it to ensure that if the bullet passes through the target or misses, it will not cause injury or damage to unintended persons or property. Always consider the complete trajectory of your shot. Question 10. Which of the following is an example of safe storage practice according to California guidelines? A. Storing a loaded handgun in a nightstand drawer for quick access. B. Using a cable lock to secure the action of an unloaded rifle, stored in a gun safe. C. Keeping an unloaded shotgun and its ammunition in separate, unlocked cabinets. D. Storing a firearm loaded and locked in a vehicle glove compartment. Answer: B. Using a cable lock to secure the action of an unloaded rifle, stored in a gun safe. Explanation: California law requires that firearms be stored securely to prevent access by unauthorized individuals. Using a DOJ-approved locking device, such as a cable lock, to render an unloaded firearm inoperable and then storing it within a secure container like a gun safe is a compliant and safe storage method. Simply separating ammunition or keeping firearms loaded and readily accessible in unsecured locations like nightstands or unlocked cabinets is contrary to safe storage principles and legal requirements. Layering security with a lock and a safe provides a strong deterrent to unauthorized access. Question 11. When clearing a semi-automatic pistol, after removing the magazine, what is the next essential step to ensure it is unloaded? A. Engage the safety lever. B. Point the muzzle upwards. C. Pull the trigger to relieve tension. D. Cycle the slide to extract any round from the chamber. Answer: D. Cycle the slide to extract any round from the chamber. Explanation: Clearing a semi-automatic pistol requires more than just removing the magazine, as a round could still be present in the chamber. After dropping the magazine, you must vigorously cycle the slide backward and forward, often multiple times, to ensure that any round that might have been in the chamber is ejected. Following this step, visually and physically inspect the chamber and magazine well to confirm the firearm is empty. Always assume a round is chambered until you have positively confirmed otherwise. Question 12. If you encounter a firearm you are unfamiliar with, what should you do first? A. Pick it up carefully and examine its features. B. Locate the safety mechanism. C. Treat it as loaded and keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. D. Try to open the action to see if it's loaded. Answer: C. Treat it as loaded and keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. Explanation: The principle of treating every firearm as loaded is especially important when encountering one you don't know how to operate. Before attempting any manipulation or examination, you must immediately apply the two most fundamental safety rules: assume it's loaded and control the muzzle by pointing it in a safe direction. Only after establishing muzzle control should you attempt to determine its condition or how to safely handle it. Safety starts with control. Question 13. What does the term, clearing a firearm, refer to? A. Making sure the barrel is clean and free of obstructions. B. The process of rendering a firearm safe by ensuring it is unloaded. C. Polishing the external surfaces of the firearm. D. Checking if the sights are properly aligned. Answer: B. The process of rendering a firearm safe by ensuring it is unloaded. Explanation: Clearing a firearm is the specific process of confirming that a firearm is completely empty of all ammunition, both in the magazine, if applicable, and critically, in the chamber. This involves following specific steps for that type of firearm, such as removing the magazine and cycling the action, followed by a visual and physical inspection. Properly clearing a firearm is essential before storage, cleaning, or any handling where the intention is not to shoot. Always confirm the firearm is clear before deeming it safe to handle further. Question 14. When storing ammunition, what is the primary safety consideration? A. Storing it separately from firearms. B. Storing it in a cool, dry place. C. Keeping it in its original packaging. D. Storing it in a locked container or secure location away from unauthorized persons. Answer: D. Storing it in a locked container or secure location away from unauthorized persons. Explanation: While storing ammunition in a cool, dry place is good for its longevity, the primary safety consideration, especially concerning California requirements, is preventing unauthorized access. Ammunition should be stored in a secure location, such as a locked cabinet, safe, or other secure container, where individuals not authorized to handle firearms or ammunition cannot reach it. Keeping ammunition separate from firearms is a good practice, but securing the ammunition itself is vital for preventing unintended use. Question 15. What is the main purpose of the California Firearm Safety Certificate, FSC, program? A. To register all firearms owned in California. B. To ensure individuals purchasing firearms have a basic understanding of firearm safety laws and handling. C. To license individuals for concealed carry. D. To track firearm sales within the state. Answer: B. To ensure individuals purchasing firearms have a basic understanding of firearm safety laws and handling. Explanation: the California FSC program requires individuals to pass a test demonstrating a fundamental knowledge of firearm safety laws and principles before they can purchase or acquire a firearm. The certificate is proof of this basic competency. It's not a registration document, a concealed carry permit, or primarily a sales tracking tool, but rather a safety education requirement designed to reduce accidents and promote responsible ownership. Earning your FSC means you've committed to learning the essential safety rules. Question 16. According to California law regarding storage when children are present, what is the minimum requirement for storing a handgun? A. Unloaded in a locked container, or disabled with a locking device. B. Hidden out of sight in a drawer. C. Stored with ammunition in a separate room. D. Kept loaded for self-defense but inaccessible to the child. Answer: A. Unloaded in a locked container, or disabled with a locking device. Explanation: California law specifically addresses firearm storage when children are present or likely to gain access, making it a criminal offense if an improperly stored firearm is accessed and used. The legal requirement is that the firearm must be either stored in a locked container or disabled with a locking device to prevent unauthorized access, and it must be unloaded in this state. Simply hiding it or separating ammunition is not sufficient to meet the legal standard for secure storage in these circumstances. Secure storage is not just a rule, it's a legal obligation. Question 17. If a firearm fails to fire when the trigger is pulled, what is the safest course of action? A. Immediately open the action to check the chamber. B. Tap the firearm firmly to try and make it fire. C. Keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction and wait a short period before attempting to clear it. D. Hand the firearm to someone else to look at. Answer: C. Keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction and wait a short period before attempting to clear it. Explanation: if a firearm doesn't fire when expected, a misfire, or failure to fire, it could be a hang fire, where there's a delay in the ignition of the primer. The safest procedure is to continue pointing the muzzle in a safe direction and wait for a short period, typically 30 to 60 seconds, to see if it fires. After waiting, and keeping the muzzle pointed safely, you can then attempt to clear the firearm following the proper steps for that specific model. Never immediately open the action, as a delayed ignition could occur while the action is open. Question 18. Eye protection and ear protection should be used whenever you are A. Cleaning a firearm. B. Handling ammunition. C. Disassembling a firearm for maintenance. D. Shooting firearms. Answer: D. Shooting firearms. Explanation: shooting firearms exposes you to significant risks of eye injury from ejected casings, gunpowder residue, or ricochets, and permanent hearing damage from the loud noise of gunfire. Therefore, wearing appropriate eye protection and ear protection is essential whenever you are engaged in shooting activities. While good practices apply to other firearm-related tasks, protective gear is non-negotiable on the firing range. Protect your vision and hearing every time you shoot. Question 19. What does the term muzzle refer to on a firearm? A. The part you hold onto with your non-shooting hand. B. The rear part of the barrel where the bullet exits. C. The part of the frame that houses the trigger. D. The opening of the barrel from which the projectile is fired. Answer: D. The opening of the barrel from which the projectile is fired. Explanation: the muzzle is the critical front end of the barrel, the opening from which the bullet or shot leaves the firearm. Controlling where the muzzle is directed is arguably the most important aspect of firearm safety, as it determines the path of a projectile if the firearm discharges. Keeping conscious control of the muzzle's direction at all times is fundamental to preventing accidents. Always know where your muzzle is pointed. Question 20. When you are handed a firearm, even if the owner says it is unloaded, what should you do immediately? A. Hand it back and refuse to touch it. B. Visually and physically check the firearm yourself to confirm it is unloaded. C. Pull the trigger to confirm it's not loaded. D. Place it down on a table. Answer: B. Visually and physically check the firearm yourself to confirm it is unloaded. Explanation: responsible firearm handling dictates that you never take someone else's word that a firearm is unloaded. You must personally confirm the condition of the firearm by following the proper procedures for that specific type, including a visual and physical inspection of the chamber and magazine well to ensure it is empty. Your safety is your responsibility, so always check for yourself. Trust but verify the unloaded status of any firearm you handle. Question 21. If a firearm has a mechanical safety, when is the safest time to engage it? A. When you are actively aiming at your target. B. When handling the firearm but not intending to shoot immediately. C. Immediately after loading the firearm. D. Only when storing the firearm. Answer: B. When handling the firearm but not intending to shoot immediately. Explanation: a mechanical safety device is a supplement to, not a replacement for, safe handling practices. It's safest to engage the mechanical safety when you are handling the firearm but are not in the process of actively aiming or shooting. This adds an extra layer of protection against unintentional discharge, provided you still follow all the basic safety rules, especially keeping your finger off the trigger and the muzzle pointed safely. Remember, a safety is just a mechanical device that can fail, it doesn't replace safe habits. Question 22. Dry firing is the act of A. Cleaning a firearm using compressed air. B. Pulling the trigger of an unloaded firearm. C. Firing a firearm using special reduced power ammunition. D. Storing a firearm without any lubrication. Answer: B. Pulling the trigger of an unloaded firearm. Explanation: dry firing means operating the action and pulling the trigger of a firearm when it is completely unloaded, without any ammunition present. It is a common practice for training, practicing trigger control, and familiarization with a firearm's mechanics. However, it is absolutely crucial to triple-check and be completely certain that the firearm is unloaded before dry firing, treating every dry fire as if it were live fire in terms of muzzle direction and finger discipline. Always confirm the firearm is empty before clicking that trigger. Question 23. Where should you look first when confirming if a semi-automatic pistol is unloaded after removing the magazine? A. At the target in front of you. B. At the firearm's external safety lever. C. Into the chamber. D. At the magazine well. Answer: C. Into the chamber. Explanation: while checking the magazine well is important to ensure the magazine is removed, the most critical place to look to confirm a semi-automatic pistol is unloaded is directly into the chamber. After cycling the slide, you must visually and physically inspect the chamber, often by locking the slide back, to ensure no round is present there. A round can remain in the chamber even after the magazine is removed. Always verify the chamber is empty. Question 24. When participating in supervised target shooting at a range, the safest time to load your firearm is A. When you first arrive at your shooting station. B. When instructed to do so by the range officer. C. When you are ready to begin shooting, even if others are not. D. While others are posting or checking targets downrange. Answer: B. When instructed to do so by the range officer. Explanation: on a supervised firing range, the range officer is in charge of ensuring safety protocols are followed by everyone. Loading is typically permitted only at a specific time, such as when the range is hot, safe to shoot, and only upon the range officer's command or signal. Loading a firearm at any other time, especially when the range is cold, safe to go downrange to check targets, or without instruction, creates a severe safety risk for yourself and others. Always follow range rules and instructions. Question 25. What does it mean to keep your finger off the trigger? A. To keep your hand away from the grip entirely. B. To rest your finger on the trigger guard. C. To keep your index finger straight and outside the trigger guard, resting along the frame or slide. D. To place your index finger on the trigger but not apply pressure. Answer: C. To keep your index finger straight and outside the trigger guard, resting along the frame or slide. Explanation: keeping your finger off the trigger means maintaining proper finger discipline by keeping your dominant index finger extended straight and positioned outside the trigger guard, typically resting along the side of the firearm's frame or slide. This ensures that your finger cannot accidentally make contact with the trigger until you have made a conscious decision to shoot, your sights are on the target, and you are ready to fire. Proper finger placement is a fundamental safety habit.